The network notes were that I was just too fat, which is also very weird because I never even thought about my weight being a factor in comedy. As a comedic person, that was one of the reasons I wanted to be in comedy because weight was never a factor. So that was surprising. But this was the 90s also. And you just couldn't be fat. You just couldn't be fat. There was no way that we would allow that. And I think it was because
As
we
a
were
woman,
feminists. As a woman, we were feminists, but the feminism still we hadn't come as far as we have now in terms of body acceptance and realizing that feminism doesn't have to minimize anywhere, or being a feminist is really about being your authentic self, which for me is fat. And it's happy fat. It's fine to be fat and it's good to be fat. It is my choice, but then it was really much maligned upon. It was looked at as a real weakness of character.
Mm.
Not the character I was playing on television, but the character of myself, of me. So it was really a problem. My fat was a real sort of like problem that the network had the most fear around. But it wasn't their fault either because it was the times and how we viewed women. Our heroines were smart, but super thin. I mean, Ally McBeal was an icon of the era. So we see what women were really valid. At least we were valid for our intelligence, but our bodies were under intense scrutiny. And so, the icons of the time were Kate Moss and, people like that. So you didn't have more of a sort of a diverse view of beauty. You had a very divisive idea of like what beautiful was.
Your joke about Kate Moss from one of your stand-ups just came in my head, and I'm
Oh
laughing.
yeah, yeah.
She didn't feed it, so it died.
Yeah, he did. But I mean, it's really like, but she would also kind of talk a lot about how much she ate. And that was also a value too, that to be naturally that thin was really more of the thing. And we had so many confusing ideas about food and weight. And this is the time where Snackwells were selling out of the store. You couldn't have any fat in anything, which is really, we were such a fat phobic society. If you think about the 90s and eating, we were really crazy, making ourselves crazy. It was not good.
Well, what did you do to assuage them? I mean, what did they put you on a diet? Did they give you
I went on a diet campaign. It was a tear, which I was like, every diet I've ever been on was never successful. But this was like, I was so determined to channel my anxiety from being on television in that way, in a very public space, to where it was almost like the safety that I felt as a performer kind of went away because the audience became so much larger. So it was a very different experience of being in front of people. And so that scrutiny really terrified me. And I started to get meal delivery, which was all no fat, which is so crazy. And I had a trainer who was great. He was a great guy. He would come over every day and we would run up the hill with my dog, which is really cute. But we would run up the hill and it was so nuts. It was so physically painful, but at the same time, I felt like I could channel my anxiety into that.